Hey everyone, if you're new here, my name's Lottie, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back to my channel. Today when I'm filming this, it is Saturday, February 1st, which means it's time to pick out my monthly TBR. Honestly, finally, I feel like January took forever. I'm so excited to have a shorter month for February, and Valentine's Day is just fun. I'm excited to just be moving through the winter. I don't know, January is definitely not my favorite month of the year, so I'm just glad to have her behind me. Not to wish my life away or anything, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad January is over. You guys really seem to love these videos and I love filming them, so I'm back today and we're gonna be picking out my February TBR using the TBR jar prompts. To do a quick recap on January's TBR, I picked out 7 books and I read 4 of them, so kind of a flop, but I did my best and I'm not gonna be too hard on myself. January turned out to be a pretty busy month with my corporate job, just kind of getting back in the swing of things in the new year, and then I also had some travel in January. My family and I took a ski trip, and I think also with everything going on in the world, I found myself doom scrolling a little bit more than I should have been, but it just means that there's another opportunity to put them on another TBR and enjoy them in the months to come. So I'm thinking we may pick 8 books for the monthly TBR. I kind of am realizing that I like having more options to choose from and not worrying so much about getting every single one of them completed. And I also have been thinking about trying to incorporate more Kindle reads into my monthly TBRs because I just love reading on my Kindle and have been in a big Kindle mood recently. Also, there's so many books on my Kindle Unlimited TBR, so I definitely want to think about those and make sure I'm incorporating them. Also, I want to take a look at my Libby and try to do a better job incorporating books on my TBR that are coming up for my holds on Libby. I always want to take advantage of my Libby holds in my library books, so I feel like it would make more sense to try to incorporate those in too. And I think I've just been feeling really strongly that I really want to get my physical TBR down a little bit because it is so full right now. But I think what's more important is that I pick out a TBR that's really dynamic and full of a lot of different vibes and full of books that I'm really excited about, rather than just picking books off my physical TBR because I want to get them off of the cart. I do want to quickly speak about some new releases that came out last month and the ones that are coming out in February that I definitely want to read. So in January, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros came out, if you've been living under a rock, but I have still not read that one. I'm realizing that I was really excited for Onyx Storm, but then when it actually came out, I don't know, I wasn't itching to get to it. So I definitely want to get to that one soon because I want to avoid spoilers, but I'm also not in a huge rush to read it. I feel like I could read it in February or March and kind of be okay. I like the Empyrean series, but it's not my favorite series ever. I'm interested. I don't want to get spoiled, but I'm also just not, I don't know. And then also in January, we had Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young that came out, I think on January 28th, just a few days ago. And that's kind of a companion novel to Out on a Limb, which I loved that book. So I have high hopes for Out of the Woods and would be definitely interested in including that on my TBR this month. And then for February, I think on February 4th, we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I'm curious about this one, but I'm not in a big rush to read it. I definitely want to read it at some point this year, but I don't know that it has to be February. We also have the next book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, which is the final one. It's called Scythe and Sparrow. And since it's not out yet, I don't have it on my physical TBR, but I'm definitely going to want to get a copy of that because I have physical copies of the other 2, so I think it'll be fun to have the full trilogy. So I may just wait and read that in March too, once I can get my hands on a copy. And then also the new Emily Wilde book is coming out this month. So I haven't read the first one yet, but that could be a good reason to put it on my TBR this month so that I can hopefully get caught up. It's the 3rd book. I think it's called Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. And then also in February, probably my most anticipated release of the whole month, I think it's February 18th, is Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is the 2nd book in the Crimson Moth duology. I am I'm so sad for this book. I need to figure out a way to get it on the TBR this month. So we will be trying to find a prompt that will fit it. This is one that I'm definitely going to read the week that it comes out. With all that in mind, those are some of the new releases on my radar. And then with Onyx Storm also, I don't have a physical copy. I may just read it on my Kindle. A few other books on my radar that I don't have physical copies of, but I'm interested in reading are The Frozen River, Hello Beautiful, The Rachel Incident, Half a Soul, This Could Be Us, which is the 2nd book in the Skyland series, P.S. I Hate You, Lights Out, and All the Colors of the Dark. Oh, and Throne of Glass. Those are all in my head. I'll probably forget them as soon as I start pulling prompts. I'll probably just pull directly from the physical TBR, which is also okay. But I just thought I'd say them out loud so that if you need any recommendations or just curious what I've been thinking about reading on Kindle, those are a few that come to mind. This is my TBR jar. She is from Etsy. It's so cute. I always have it linked down below if you guys want to check it out. Okay, I feel like I've been yapping forever. Let's dive into prompt number 1. We have use a random letter generator and pick a book that starts with that letter. I actually have gotten this one before, and I think I put it back in here because it's a fun one to get again, but let's pull up the random letter generator. Okay, let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Okay, I got the letter B. Let's see if there's anything on my TBR cart that starts with the letter B. First up, we have Beartown. You guys are so sick of me because I literally put Beartown on my December TBR and then I didn't read it. And then I put it on my January TBR and I didn't read it. And it's not that I don't want to read Beartown. I just like haven't gotten to it. And I know I'm going to really love this book and I want to sit down when I can like really appreciate it. And then let's see what else. And I also have Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I think these are our main two options. They are very different vibes. I would honestly love for both of these books to be on my February TBR. I think Betting on You would be a really cute little YA romance to have for Valentine's Day. And this book just like screams February to me. But at the same time, Beartown is one that I've been wanting to get to for forever. And I feel so guilty that I haven't read it yet. This feels like one that I absolutely need to read in the winter as well. And I'm pretty sure it's on my 25 books to read in 2025. I feel like I need to put this one back on the TBR. Third time's the charm, guys. We're gonna read it this month, I promise. Okay, let's pick out prompt number 2. All right, this one says an intriguing, cool, or sweet dedication. Okay, this is gonna take a little bit of work to go through and find one, but let's do it. Piglet just says for my 3, which isn't very exciting. So many of them say just like for my friends or like for Joe. I'm like, guys, can we not get a little creative? I will say I read The Wedding People last month. That one had a really good dedication. For Phil, like, come on. This one says for John, Paul, George, and Ringo, which are the Beatles. So that's slightly intriguing, but still. This one's to the author's siblings. Okay, Emily Wilde, I believe in you. Emily Wilde doesn't have one. I must say, Miss Jessa Hastings never disappoints on a dedication. This is Never by Jessa Hastings. It's long, but it's like, I hope you found what you were looking for. I hope that you're free. It's a little mysterious. I don't know. There's nothing here that's like really good. Should we check Cleopatra and Frankenstein? For my mother. Girls, we have got to do something more original. I'm realizing it's my dream to have a book dedicated to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of these people. I'm like, my dream's actually not to write a book. It's to have someone else write it and dedicate it to me. For Emily, who has all my love. Emily. Literally, guys, I feel like I've gone through every book at this point. To my grandma Betty. Here's what I'm talking about. I would like to dedicate Binding 13 to anyone who's ever had a dream they dared to chase with insatiable hunger and drive. This story is for you. That is one of the better ones. So I found 4. We've got Addicted to You by Kristen Becker Ritchie. This is the first book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. And this one is really long, if you can see here. It's like a nice page-long dedication to the readers. So I also thought the Wild Eyes one was pretty good. I like Never by Jessa Hastings. I thought this was a good one as well. I think Binding 13 may have been the best one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Binding 13, honestly. I saw my friend Katie Wittrick reading this in January and she seemed to really love it. I'm pretty sure this is set in Ireland and it's like a college kind of romance, but I think they have a lot of like trauma and there's quite a few like content/trigger warnings. I feel like I have 2 books already that are gonna be really heavy and I want to find some more lighthearted or just like fun fantasy or mystery books because this plus Beartown definitely is a lot. I've heard it can fill the void that Magnolia Parks leaves perhaps, so worth a shot. I'm sure almost all of you are familiar with this book, so I won't ramble on about it, but the second book that I'm going to put on my February TBR is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. All right, let's pick out prompt number 3. A book that already has a screen adaptation. Let's see if I can think of anything. So I don't think that any of these have a screen adaptation. Never is based on Peter Pan, but I don't think that really counts. Then let's see. The Nightingale is getting turned into a movie, I'm pretty sure, but it's not one yet. Same with We Used to Live Here. Oh, you know what has a screen adaptation? A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. My TBR sign is just getting put on the floor for now. Okay, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder actually does have a screen adaptation. It's a TV show on Netflix. This could be a really good option for the TBR. I feel like I've definitely been putting this one off. I don't know why, I just haven't been that excited about it. All right, then just looking through down here, I think the only other one, Twisted Love, is getting turned into a TV show. And then I think also The Thursday Murder Club is getting turned into a TV show or a movie. The only one down here that already has an adaptation also is Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering. But considering I already put Beartown and Binding Binding 13 on the TBR. I don't think I should put this one on my TBR for February, even though the red and the pink is so cute and the perfect colors for February. I just think I already have a bit of a heavier start to the TBR. Right now, I'm just feeling like I need to balance it out. So I think that leaves us with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Honestly, I need an excuse to read this. I need to put this on my TBR and just get it going. I think it'd be really fun to watch the show then after. So if you guys want to see a vlog maybe of me reading this for the first time, let me know, because I feel like everyone's read this. So I could do like a full spoiler vlog and then I could watch like some of the show. I always think those are really fun vlog ideas. So anyway, let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. But the next book I'm going to put on my February TBR is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Okay, prompt number 4 for the February TBR, a book with a 5-word title. Okay, let's see what our options are. The Will of the Many is 5 words. We Used to Live Here is 5 words. Okay, so these are the ones I'm choosing between. Trust of the Emerald Sea. This is a standalone from Brandon Sanderson. I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed by the amount of series that I want to read, and I already have books in series on the TBR this month, so I'm going to be starting 2 new series. So I feel like even though I really want to get to these, I don't know if I should start more series. This could be a nice one to put on there since I don't have a fantasy yet. And then that way I'm also not starting a series. I also am very intrigued by Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, especially because the Compendium of Lost Tales comes out this month. So this one is high on my list too. Honestly, I've heard nothing but good things about An Ember in the Ashes and this whole series. So I am so eager to get to this. And same with We Used to Live Here. I really want to get to this one, and it's pretty short and sweet, and so many people had this in their top favorite books of the year for 2024. Plus with like the horror genre, I feel like it's one I want to read in more of like the winter. I'm feeling like because we have a romance, a fiction, and like a YA mystery, I want to add a fantasy. So I think I've narrowed it down to Emily Wilde or Trust of the Emerald Sea. Honestly, Trust of the Emerald Sea seems kind of summery for fantasy to me, which is rare because I feel like I often want to read fantasy in the fall and winter, but because this one is set on the ocean at sea, I feel like I'm going to want to read this in the summer, which is a total 180 because I got it for my fall TBR. But like the more I read it, I'm like, oh, Tress lives on her island home. And I'm like, I feel like this would be a great summer read. And I think I'm going to go with Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And even though I wasn't wanting to start more series and add more series to the TBR, I've been wanting to get to this one anyway. So we're adding. So prompt number 5 is a book with the color green on the cover. Okay. Well, we know Trust of the Emerald Sea has green on the cover, but I think I've just determined that I may want to wait and read that in the warmer months. So we're going to leave it where it is. I'd say Never by Jessa Hastings definitely has green on the cover. We've got this Peter Pan grass green color, so this could be a good one. Piglet by Lottie Hazel definitely has a little bit of green painted in the lettuce on the hamburger. I'm going to count it. Honestly, the one with the most green on the cover is Trust of the Emerald Sea, but I think I'm going to go maybe, I really want to read Piglet, honestly. I just have really been wanting to get to this one, and I feel like it's going to add something a little bit different to the vibes of the TBR. Piglet is an elegant, razor-sharp debut about women's ambitions and appetites and the truth about having it all. I'm just super intrigued by this one. It's on my 25 in 2025. I want to read it, so let's add it to the February TBR. Okay, let's pick out prompt number 6 for the February TBR. Next prompt says, oh, interesting, a book with text messages in it. So I'm going to flip through a few books and see if I could find any amazing. Okay, I really wanted to read this book soon. I'm really not like reading what's on the page, but I saw that this one had some text bubbles. So this is She Really Going Out With Him by Sophie Cousins. This is kind of like a rom-com book that I've really been wanting to get to, and I just think this might be the perfect thing for me to read for Valentine's Day. Kind of sounds like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days meets He's Just Not That Into You, which are 2 of my favorite movies. So I just have been dying to put this on my TBR, and this gives me an excuse to. So I read The Good Part by Sophie Cousins in September, and it was one of my favorite books of the year. So I can't wait to get to her newest release and see what I think. Okay, let's pick out prompt number 7. Okay, this prompt says a book with stars on the cover. Let's see if I can find any. Never by Jessa Hastings definitely has stars, and it has like reflective kind of stars. So The Atlas 6, I don't know if I count this as stars. Oh, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue definitely has stars on the cover. Should we put this back on the TBR? Maybe. The Thursday Murder Club, I'm counting like these little guys. I feel like those are the stars that I'm counting. Honestly, guys, I feel like I need to put The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue back on the TBR. This is one that I've been putting off and just didn't get to in last month's TBR. But I really do want to get to it, and I've heard good things about the audiobook too. So I think for a book with stars on the cover, I'm going to go back to Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. We're putting it back on the TBR. It's gonna happen. This and Beartown are getting re-added. Okay, let's pick out the 8th and final prompt for the February TBR. Okay, this one says a book with a different colored spine. Okay, different colored spine. I feel like never kind of counts because the spine, but I don't know, it kind of matches the back. The favorites is kind of, yeah, it's definitely a different colored spine. I really want to get to this book. I feel like an Ember in the Ashes, kind of, but I don't really want to pull it out. But can you see? I'll just zoom in with the camera. If you can see here at the bottom, it's red on the front and red at the bottom, but like it's different here, but not the whole spine. So also I feel like the Thursday Murder Club like kind of counts, but also not really. I feel like we've got to have some romance books with like a different colored spine. You with a View kind of does. Again, it like matches. Oh, Betting on You. That's a really good one. I feel like this is what we meant by this question, where it's like opposites. But I don't know, The Favorites is also a good one. I think I'm between The Favorites and Betting on You. I don't know which one I should pick. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with The Favorites just because everyone has been talking about this book and I think I will be super excited to get to it. So I have picked out the 8 books for my February TBR. Let's go through them together. Okay, the first prompt was use a random letter generator and pick a book that starts with that letter. So we spun the wheel, got the letter B, and for that I chose Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This is going back on the TBR and I'm gonna make it happen, guys. 3rd time's the charm. Next up, I got the prompt, an intriguing, cool, or sweet dedication. And for this one, I chose Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Next up, I got a book that already has a screen adaptation. So I picked out A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Next up, I got a book with a 5-word title. So I picked out Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, a book with the color green on the cover. So for that, I chose Piglet by Lottie Hazel. Next up, I got a book with text messages in it. So for that one, I chose Is She Really Going Out with Him by Sophie Cousins. The next one was a book with stars on the cover. So for this one, we are putting The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab back on the TBR. And the 8th and final prompt for the February TBR was a book with a different colored spine. So for that, I chose The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I feel like I always talk at the beginning of the video about how I'm going to pick more Kindle books, Libby books, new releases, and things like that. And then I never do, but I really do want to tackle my physical TBR. I just literally, my mind goes blank. I'm like, oh, what are my choices? And I don't even think about all of the ones that I want to read on my Kindle. But this is the February TBR. I'm really excited about it. I feel like we have a lot of different vibes. I probably shouldn't have picked a larger TBR for the shortest month of the year, but I think it's really nice to have a little bit of a larger TBR that I can choose from based on my mood and not put too much pressure on myself to finish every single book. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below with the envelope with the heart on it. That emoji, I love it. It's one of my faves and I just feel like it's so February. So leave me this emoji in the comments if you made it to the end, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the monthly TBR videos, and subscribe to my channel down below if you're new here for more bookish content. That's it for today's video, but I will see you super soon in my next one. Bye everyone.